Blizzard's roadmap has made it clear when we will be heading into future content, but where? That's still full of speculation. We have covered here a lot recently on where we expect to be going based on Blizzard's carefully laid breadcrumbs. But the biggest clue of all was the mention of these dark waters from the whispers of the old gods in our visit to the Black Empire. We will follow him to the deep places, and the dark waters will flow in his wake. Let's explore exactly what these dark waters could be, and stay to the end to hear some speculation on how it could all end. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and come, take a seat by the fire. The mention of dark waters feels pretty recent to most, with it being a new voice line added in the latest expansion of Dragonflight. Who can blame us? But this is just a new name for some very old lore. This is the idea of corrupted waters that flow through Azeroth, likely the same waters that corrupted Galakrond as mentioned by Tyr. Tyr believed that it was yogg'saron's blood that had corrupted these waters, and given its sordid history this is likely true. But the stories of these waters does not end here. It actually reveals an entirely new piece of lore we never really explored. Saronite is the crystallized blood of Yogg, droplets rising to the surface from his humongous amorphous body beneath the surface. While its uses in metallurgy are infamous, it's had properties that now feel all too similar to a threat we are facing on the Dragon Isles. It is important to remember going forward that it is found in two states, both solid and liquid. The more you research into this, the more obvious these unusual traits become. The most notable of all is the belief that it has the power to destroy, not just the body, but the soul as well. A belief held by Sylvanas Windrunner when she cast herself from the tower of Icecrown Citadel. And the Saronite spike she would land on would be her only means of escaping undeath. This ability to rot and destroy almost anything we propose is actually the wielding of the element of decay. There is actually a lot of evidence for this, especially how it relates to the interconnectivity between the old gods and the elements. It explains a lot. As we know from Chronicles, decay can be used to bind the elements to one's will, which is how dark shamans manipulate the elements, albeit a twisted version of them. Imagine then that old god blood is infused with the element of decay. The same way the archival construct within Old War says that within yogg'saron there is an extremely powerful acid. This breaking down and decaying of order and structure seems very in line with how they operate. We have even seen Saronite in its liquid form flowing through the blood of the Faceless, a rotting of their original structure, and most definitely a rotting of their mind. To a degree, the curse/gift of flesh would also be a form of decay magic. Remember then back to Cataclysm, with the actions of the Twilight Hammer being very intertwined with the elements. Outside of Elementium, which seems to have both the properties of Saronite and Azerite combined, we will look to the Bastion of Twilight, to the Ascendant Council. These beings were once mortal, now infused with elemental power. Well, a dark, twisted version of it. This magic was probably the same way they dominated the elemental lords in ages past. To expand on all of this then, the dark water is most definitely the lifeblood of Azeroth. However, instead of being purified or infused with arcane magic, as in the Well of Eternity, it is instead infused with the decay of the old gods, which they use their blood to do as the catalyst. This lines up with some of the unexplained missing pieces we have long held onto. The first is that if it takes Decay-infused blood to corrupt the lifeblood of Azeroth, then yogg'saron's final message, "The shadow of my corpse will choke this land for all eternity," would make sense. This was no mere threat, but an inevitability. Il'gynoth also warned us of this in Legion. He said that if you peel back the flesh, you expose the rot. We thought we had contained the decay when we stopped G'huun, but with all the rot coming through to the surface, it appears we were very wrong. The Brackenhide Null Decay Triarch still lives, even after her defeat in the Hollow. She will make her next move soon enough, but it is still unknown where she found the decay magic, or her source of power. We believe it is likely the same place these dark waters are being held. In 10.1, when we go to the underground zone to confront the remaining incarnates, we may soon realise that this was always the plan. We proposed recently that there is a huge source of ancient elemental power down there. This empowered many creatures, from the Y'shaarj to the incarnates themselves. The old gods were likely drawn to these areas as prime feeding grounds, and we thought it is likely fighting for control over these areas that caused them to war so much with each other. But after their imprisonment, the Titan Forge Keepers, Tyr in particular, very much knew about it, even building wards and possibly making use of it, as we see in Tyrhold and the Reservoir. When they first sent Earthen to investigate it, they realised they could draw on its power to fuel their engines, the same ones that are purifying the world-sold rivers of lifeblood right now. But once this power is taken away, possibly even by us in order to stop the incarnates from using it against us, we inadvertently stop the purifying process too. This leads to the next prophecy of the Black Empire, that Azeroths dreams their dreams. This would make complete sense. Like the breaking of a dam, the shadow would wash over the world. It would make the corruption of the Terrace of Endless Spring or Immersius look like nothing in comparison. Full, systemic corruption, and no Algalon to send the reply code. We have no idea on the status of the Forge of Origination after it was used against N'Zoth. Not that we mortals would want that anyway, considering it would wipe all life off the planet, including us. And as we have mentioned before, the Dark Azeroth could be a very real possibility, and one we may have to come to terms with very soon. As we have seen, no cosmic force is all good, or all evil. However, we could learn to live with this darkness, perhaps hope to change it someday. But how would the light feel about this? I cannot imagine losing a world soul, one as powerful as Azeroth, to the void would go down well. Perhaps this is setting the ground for the long-awaited battle versus the light. But let's focus on one threat at a time. Honestly, these dark waters have us excited. I do wonder how Blizzard will show them. Will they look like swirling dark well of eternity, or more coagulated, non-Euclidean spirals like Lovecraft's Mountains of Madness? I guess time will tell. But what do you think? As always, we love hearing your theories. It's the best part. Don't hesitate to let us know in the comments, or come join us on the Discord. And don't forget to come back anytime.